Rob, you have a great history with animation from working on classics as an animator like The Little Mermaid, and then of course co-directing The Lion King and Stuart Little. And now we have Mr. Peabody and Sherman. So I wanted to ask you, when did your fascination with animation first begin?
Well, I think when I was young, I used to love watching animated cartoons on television. I loved Bugs Bunny, I loved Daffy Duck, and all those great Warner Brothers cartoons. And obviously the Disney animated features were very special too, and getting to watch them in the theater was amazing.
I understand that you've long been looking to bring the characters of Mr. Peabody and Sherman to the big screen. I was wondering whether you could give us a little bit of a background on these characters, particularly for UK audiences who might not be as familiar with their original.
Well, Mr. Peabody and Sherman first appeared on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, which was a show created by Jay Ward and premiered in 1959. And they had a segment, a 6-minute short, called Peabody's Improbable History, in which Mr. Peabody and his adopted son Sherman would take trips in their way back to a variety of historical places to meet incredible historical figures.
I wanted to ask you actually about the adoption. Obviously, this is sort of a reverse situation going on here. Sort of, what's the motivation of Mr. Peabody for wanting to adopt a human son?
Well, you know, I think that Mr. Peabody has achieved many, many things. You know, he's won Nobel Prizes and Olympic gold medals, as well as, you know, building a time machine, which he actually didn't do until after he adopted Sherman. But he's done so many things and accomplished so much that, you know, there comes a point in your life where you realize you need to share it with someone. And so he decides to adopt.
You have an amazing cast for this film: Ty Burrell, Leslie Mann, Stanley Tucci and Alison Janney, all making appearances. I wondered how you go about casting a film like this and whether you ran into any challenges while you were trying to, you know, assemble this all-star cast.
Sure. You know, the challenge in every film is to get the right actor to play the right role. And it's no different in animation than it is in live action. And so the first thing you do is you really imagine what you're hoping to see on the screen and literally, you know, go after these actors, and depending on who they are and, you know, how busy they are, sometimes they are available, sometimes not. Sometimes they're interested in the project, sometimes they're not. So you go through always a searching process to find the right actor.
I wanted to ask particularly about the casting of the great Mel Brooks. How did that come about, and what does a comedy titan like Mel bring to the table?
Mel Brooks was particularly fun to work with because many years ago, I actually shot a short that he was starring in. It was a live-action short for one of the Disney theme parks. It was the very first live-action I shot, actually, and so I got to work with him so many years ago. I think it was 1990. And so getting a chance to work with him again was really gratifying.
I wanted to ask about the film's visuals. It seemed to me that it's been beautifully realised in 3D, but also sort of retains some of the cartoonish elements of the original Rocky and Bullwinkle. I wondered, as an animator yourself, what aesthetic brief you gave your animators when you set out to start the project?
Well, for me, what was important was to capture the kind of style from the mid-century when the show first premiered. So it was important that we capture a look that was sort of, in a way, nostalgic, something that would remind us of what those shows looked like when we were young.
Okay. And another tradition that's definitely followed on from the original programme is the mixture of adult and child-focused humour. I particularly enjoyed the wordplay and puns that you get from Mr. Peabody. How important was it for you that the script retained this original element of the original programme? I
think it was very important, you know, that we captured the sort of the intelligent writing that was featured in the original show and just worked for a modern audience.
And finally, Mr. Peabody and Sherman's adventures take them on a globe-trotting journey, and they encounter many legendary historical figures along the way. Was partially part of the aim of the film to sort of help find a fun way to teach kids about these things, and possibly some adults as well?
Well, you know, I think that when I was a kid watching the show, I was always impressed with the fact that I was going to see something or hear about something or meet someone that I didn't know before, and that I was going to be introduced to them in some remarkable way. And later in life, when I got to know more about these historical figures, I really appreciated having been introduced so young to them. You know, I think there's really, education can, you know, begin right away, and I think hopefully last a lifetime. And I think if you're interested in a subject, as I happen to be in history, then it's much more fun to learn.
Rob Minkoff, absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.